be sure to visit our sponsor at gocollect.com. So I'm about to head out. I'm feeling a little bit better. So I'm going to head out and try to run a few errands. I'm going to hit the post office and drop off some contest winnings for someone. And then I'm going to try to hit up a half-price books, or I think it's a Books A Million actually, down in the Fremont area, which isn't too far from my house. I don't get there all that often. Never know what to expect when you go to a spot like this, but we're going to head down there and see if we can find some good books. So I just finished up here at Half Price Books. I walked away empty-handed. I had them open up their special case where they keep the higher end books, and went through the bin with someone standing over my shoulder because, again, it's supposed to be higher end books. Looked through there, didn't see anything. Didn't see anything, in my opinion, that should have actually been locked away. But whatever. Went through that. There was nothing there. Went through the rest of the bin, basically came up empty. I was actually on my way out of the shop, and I decided to kind of detour to this area off to the side that I've never really gone in before. And when I did that, I actually noticed that there was a little compartment with some comic books in it on display. So I kind of glanced in there, saw a couple of Avenger books, and in the back behind other books was tucked an X-Men book. X-Men 137 definitely caught my attention because it's such an iconic cover. Then I noticed the price tag. The price didn't quite look right to me. So I ended up leaving the store so that I could get a signal to jump on Go Collect. Jumped on there, looked up the prices, and realized that that book was definitely overpriced. Much to my chagrin, because I would have loved to have taken that book home, but it probably would have to been half the price for me to buy it. And what's interesting is that they call themselves Half Price Books, but that book was definitely well over 100% of the price of a graded book. So definitely an unfortunate situation. Would have loved to have taken that book home. But again, it's one of those things that you sometimes see these books in the wild, you get excited about them, but if you don't think about it, you will actually overspend for that book. So I walked away from it empty-handed, with money in my pocket though. So anyway, we'll see where the car takes me. Maybe I'll hit another comic shop on the way back to the house. So I hit up a Half Price Books the other day and actually walked away empty-handed. They actually didn't really have any good books, and the one good book that I did see was not half price. It was actually significantly marked up for the grade of that book. But there's another Half Price Books that isn't too far from the house in the opposite direction that I want to swing by today. I have my Storefolio here, and I'm hopeful that I'll be able to find some cool books that I can show you guys at the end of this video. So keep your fingers crossed for me. So I just finished up in Half Price Books. I spent about an hour and 15 minutes in there. I didn't pick up anything crazy, but I did see some awesome books. They had a very large inventory of DC and Marvel books, some things that I hadn't seen before, which I think is really cool. I walked away with a couple of books that I'll actually show you guys once I get home and get settled and all that kind of stuff. I will run you guys through the books that I managed to pick up. I think that this was a better use of time than the last stop at Half Price Books, where I walked out with nothing. So I feel really good about the time spent. And I think the books are going to be cool books. I think they're cool books that will make a nice addition to the collection. So I am back from Half Price Books. I am actually glad that I decided to swing over to Half Price Books today, because it was a fun experience. It was a good experience. I had gone to the store that I'd never gone to before. I'd driven past it when I was running errands with the wife, but had not had a chance to go in, and it was a good experience. I actually Found a couple of books that I think are really cool that add a little bit to the collection. So I'm always pleased when I can pick up some good books at a fair price. What was cool about today was I think these books were appropriately priced at like $1 or $2, but then there was also a sale that they had going on 20% off. So all I had to do was to give them my email address so that they can send me spam, and I got 20% off. I think I walked out of the shop with spending like probably less than $10 for everything that I picked up, which is kind of cool, right? Because how often can you go somewhere, spend an hour's time, and walk away having only spent $10 or less, right? So it was pretty cool. It was a fun day. I may still hit a local comic shop up later today. I'm not quite sure because they are holding a couple of Amazing Spider-Man books for me, so I may swing by and grab those. But let me show you guys the books that I ended up picking up. Again, nothing major here, nothing major, but I think these are all really cool books. So I've been reading the whole Captain America Secret Empire, where he is a agent of Hydra. So I actually watched someone's video on this that actually captured my attention. And I was like, you know what? So I started reading it digitally. Someone had also given me, I want to say 1 or 2 copies from that run. And when I saw this book, I had to get it because it's another book in that run that I did not have. And I'm really actually enjoying the story. So I actually picked up Secret Empire #2, a cool book here. And this book, Nick Spencer is the writer. I think Nick Spencer is doing a really good job on Amazing Spider-Man. I did not know that he wrote this, but again, I saw this book, decided to pick it up, and it's actually in decent shape. There's 2 spine ticks on there, but you know, par for the course, again, for how much I paid for it. It's a pretty cool book. The next 2 books that I picked up, I did so because of the writer. Brian K. Vaughan, well-known writer, actually picked up a couple of these books. I may end up finding these to a home elsewhere. I'm not sure if I'm going to hold on to them. But I actually picked up We Stand on Guard #1. Again, it's a Brian K. Vaughan piece from Image. This book is actually in really, really nice shape. I actually popped these open while I was in the store, and I think that they're in decent shape, especially to be books that were at half-price books. So here, that was issue #1. Here is issue #2. Again, pretty decent shape. No obvious spine ticks. I'm not even sure whether the person that owned these books actually read them, to be honest with you. They may have picked them up and just ended up selling them after a certain period of time. So you guys know that I'm a fan of Jack Kirby's Eternals. And I almost have like 2 full runs of his original work on the Eternals back in the day. There was also I think it's a 12 issue limited series that was done by someone at some point in time. I actually don't even know the details of it. I think there's actually been a couple of limited series that have been done, but I think this is the oldest of them. And so I decided to pick this one up. It's a pretty healthy number of books, which I think is really cool. They were there. I was there. We made some magic. So I picked up the Eternals #3. Cool cover there. Not even sure who that character is, to be honest with you, but I am actually looking forward to reading this because the original Eternals I thought was pretty good. And all of these books that I'm about to show you are all newsstand. So this is issue #3. Here is issue #4. Cool cover there featuring Icarus. I'm actually going to end up rebagging and boarding all of these books very soon. So here is #5. This one is actually reminiscent. This pose here of Icarus is reminiscent of something that Kirby did back in the day when he did the original run. They actually had 2 copies of this. One was a newsstand and one wasn't. And thankfully, the newsstand version was actually in better shape. So I went ahead and snagged that one. Here is issue #6. Not the best wrap on this one, but again, it is a relatively clean copy of this particular book. So definitely pleased about that. And then here is issue #7. All newsstand, all in decent shape. So I'm definitely pleased about that. So again, I think it was a successful day, successful trip to Half Price Books. The books were priced appropriately. They had a nice amount of inventory. I actually had a chance to see some books that I hadn't seen before, which I thought was really cool. The thing that I struggle with, because there is always a struggle when you're hunting books in the wild. My struggle was, in the back of my head, I kept saying to myself, they're only $1. They're only $2. And so I actually had a huge stack of books set to the side. What I was doing was, as I was going through the various sections of the store where they had comics, any book that caught my attention got pulled out. and set to the side. And before I would go to the next section, what I would do is I would look at the stack and I would kind of sort through it. And I would actually pop up Go Collect and Key Collector app on my phone and look at the significance of the book, look at the fair market value of the book, and try to decide, is this and then also the condition of the book. That was the other big thing, is I was actually taking the books out of the plastic to look at the front and the back and all that good stuff before buying them. But I was going through this process of, the book caught my attention, but is it worth it? Yes, it's only $1 or $2, but is it worth it? Does it make sense for me to actually spend that money on these books? And so I was using the two apps and, bouncing against my own internal desire to buy everything that I found that caught my attention. But I ended up walking away with, again, a handful of books that I think, complement the collection. I did not spend a crazy amount of money, which I think is really nice. I definitely left a lot more books behind than what I bought. But I think that was the right decision, right? Because we're always fighting with ourselves and this desire to own everything, right? I actually saw Shadowhawk 2, 4 copies of Shadowhawk 2. The black cover with the foil. I really want that book. I don't think it's worth anything, but I really want that book because I just think it's a cool cover. And I found 3 in one bin and resisted the temptation because they were slightly damaged. The 4th was a little bit better and I came close to buying it. But in the end, decided that it wasn't in my best interest to spend that extra $1 for that book. It just didn't make sense, So again, just a little bit of my thought process as I'm out there hunting. I'm trying to be a little more selective in some of the things that I do, kind of trying to hold true to the resolutions that I made at the beginning of the year to keep my powder dry and to stay focused on the books that I really want in my collection versus just buying the book because it's in front of me. So I feel very good about how I chose to spend my money today, the books that I walked away with. I'm very pleased with that. So as always, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, I definitely want to encourage you to do so that you can stay abreast of all the content that I release on a weekly basis. If you guys need to get in touch with me, feel free to do so on Instagram at Regie Collects, R-E-G-I-E Collects, and also at regiecollects@gmail.com. I look forward to chatting with you guys soon. Take care. Be sure to visit BCW Supplies to learn about their 950 plus products for collectors. Products include card sleeves, display cases, comic bags, storage boxes, and gaming folders, just to name a few items. Head over to bcwsupplies.com today for more information.